In today's video, we're going to look at how to paint details in watercolour. I'm going to show you how I would apply the colour of this one single leaf. I've already worked on these three. And I'm going to use initially a size 4, okay? So a pan art one, just out of interest if you ever need to know which one it is. Size 4, as I say, series 1102. And the other one is a size 00, which I've already been working with for the rest of this painting. And it's a Rosemary & Co. Sable Blend Series 401. Okay. Now this particular colour here is a lovely mix of lemon yellow and burnt sienna. So I'm going to go straight onto the leaf with that initially. That's very bright, isn't it? Oh, very bright indeed. I'm going to get a little bit of more lemon yellow in there actually. Yeah, why not? Small amount more lemon yellow and probably a touch of water. Phew, that's better. And just water that down a touch and apply that directly to the dry paper over the top of that pen. And remember, this pen is waterproof. If it's not waterproof, it would just bleed and move everywhere. You'll end up with a bit of a muddy looking mess, wouldn't you? You really would. And then if you think it's too much, you can just lift some off with a semi-dry brush. Just dab this on some kitchen roll, okay? And then you can just take some of that paint off if need be. I'm going to go for the green, which is lemon yellow and phthalo blue. And this lovely green can go over the top now, just as a layer, into that wet paint. Okay, so it's nice and wet on there. Something like that. Now it's very green, isn't it? So now we need to tone it down. So on this one I've got some olive green. So I'm going to add some olive green into the mix now. Now this is quite a bright colour, so I'm just going to add a small amount initially, without going overboard with it. Just a small amount. That'll do. Okay. And then we've got this one, which is olive green and French ultramarine. You always tell because the French ultramarine parts company from any other colour that you mix with it. Just isn't it? Yeah, I know. It's a granulating colour. And I'm going to drop this in now over the top in places, just by tapping and stippling like so. Now we've already got the detail underneath, haven't we? So we don't need to think too much about detail. We're now looking at colours, and we're also looking at the light and dark side of a colour, so the hues, the values of a colour. So that's what we're trying to think about while we're doing this. So by doing that, we will then get the shape we need for that said leaf, which is what we're trying to do here. So just by tapping the colour over the top. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a small amount of Payne's Grey, which I've already got some in there, look. Small amount, just pop it into there. I can use that just to darken some of these areas a little bit. Just by tapping into this wet surface. As simple as that. I know, that was easy, wasn't it? Very, very easy. So the easy part is adding the colours over the top. It's just for you to decide what colours that you want to use. And it doesn't have to be the same, I know it doesn't. You know that anyway. Of course you do. Okay, so that's that on there. I'm going to give it a quick blast with a hairdryer, because I do possess one. And then once it's nice and dry, we'll just fine tune it with our size 00 brush, just here and there. Okay, that's nice and dry. So now I can go back to that lovely olive green and French ultramarine and start to stipple. And all I'm doing, just by lightly tapping like this. Don't put too much paint on that brush though with your size 00. So do not overload it. And all I do, by the way, just out of interest, I load it, I roll it up the side like that, then I get some kitchen roll, preferably clean, not like this dirty one here, and then give it a tap or two on that kitchen roll, just taking the surplus paint off. And then you can very lightly stipple over the top to add those textures in. So tapping very gently, hard any pressure, lots and lots of stippling to add that extra texture on the paper. And then get some lovely colour of that Opera Rose, Alizarin Crimson and French Ultramarine. And we can just add this towards the tip of this leaf as well. Just a small amount. That sort of adds to it at the same time, okay? Very often with leaves, you very often see them quite worn on the tip, don't you? Very brown or red, depending on obviously the species of tree at the end of the day, doesn't it? It really does. Okay, so now what I need to do is add a little bit of watercolour white. Now everything's nice and dry on there, and as you can see I've actually been working with watercolour white, which is this one here, by using it very lightly and stippling around certain areas, create all these fine hairs that we can see on this honeysuckle. So I'll show you what I did with that for the leaf we've been painting together. I want this white really, really creamy, okay, very creamy. Something like that there. I'm going to load it, I'm going to roll it as a pull away, and I'm going to tab that on preferably some clean tissue-ish, okay, just once or twice, that'll do. And then we can use that to start to stipple on this leaf, but very lightly, hardly touching the paper at all. So literally 2 hairs in air, that's all we're doing, 2 hairs in air. And you can see this creates that extra texture at the same time, where you can see the light glistening on the kind of fur, I call it fur, on the leaf. I'm sure there's a more technical name than that. Please post a comment down below, let me know, okay? Now if you're interested in painting all this, all the way from the start to finish, this is going to be a tutorial on my teaching website, okay? You'll find the link down below in the description, so click on that and have a look at it. So you can see I've added the stipples on there, and look how that's brought it to life a bit more, just by adding this little bit of watercolour white. And I always say when you're using white paint, well, less is certainly best. And when you think I've had enough and you're not sure, step away, then come back with fresh eyes and make another decision thereafter. Don't do a decision there and then, because you might think, oh no, I've got overboard, I've added too much on there now. So just be careful with it, okay? The good thing about adding these little white marks on this leaf here, though, I think that parts of that is a little bit too white. So I can get some yellow, which is our lemon yellow and the burnt sienna. Take some off that brush ball, too much on there. I can just tap it lightly on the top of some of that white paint. If you start to rub the white paint will just lift and go all muddy on you. But do that over the top in certain places, and that's the effect that you get. Now if you want to have a look at some other videos which I've got on working with botanical subjects, have a look to the link to the top right. And you know what? I'll be there. I'll see you soon.